Did you know there is a secret math formula that makes the rich get richer while most people stay completely stuck? If you look at a graph of global wealth over the last 50 years, you will see a gap that isn't just widening, it is exploding. This is not a coincidence, and it is not just about who works the hardest. By the end of this video, you will understand the hidden rules of money that actually work, and more importantly, how to use them yourself to change your financial trajectory. There is one specific concept we will cover that is so counterintuitive that most people totally miss it, even though it is staring them right in the face every single day. Why does wealth seem to multiply faster for some people while others feel like they are running on a treadmill? It comes down to a blend of specific psychology and a mathematical phenomenon that creates a massive divide. Most of us are taught to work for money, but the wealthy understand how to make math work for them. Today we are breaking down the hidden math the rich use, the common mistakes that are likely holding you back right now, and the practical steps you can apply immediately to flip the script. Think about the story of Ronald Read. He was a janitor and a gas station attendant who died with $8 million in the bank. He didn't win the lottery, he didn't have a high salary, he simply mastered the math we are about to discuss. Let's dive into the math they don't teach you in school. At the heart of wealth accumulation is the concept of exponential growth through compound interest. Most people think linearly. If you save $100 a month, you think you'll have $1,200 at the end of the year. That is linear, but the rich think exponentially. Imagine you have $1,000 invested at a 10% return. In year one, you make $100, but in year two, you aren't just making 10% on your $1,000, you are making 10% on $1,100. This seems small at first, but let's look at the difference when the numbers scale. If you invest $10,000 versus $1,000, the gap doesn't just stay at $9,000. Over 30 years at a 7% return, that $10,000 grows to over $76,000, while the $1,000 only reaches $7,600. The gap has grown from $9,000 to nearly $69,000 simply because of the starting mass. This leads to the crucial distinction between asset accumulation and income accumulation. Most people focus on increasing their income, which is their hourly rate or salary. However, income is taxed at the highest rates and is limited by the hours in a day. The wealthy focus on building assets that grow independently of their time. This is the weird math concept. Wealth is not a reward for hard work. It is a mathematical byproduct of owning assets that appreciate. Small percentages of money can grow disproportionately over time because the growth feeds on itself. A 3% difference in an investment return might sound tiny, but over 40 years, it can mean the difference between retiring with $500,000 or $2 million. And here is where most people completely screw this up. The reason you are not getting rich likely has nothing to do with your work ethic and everything to do with how you treat your capital. The average person follows a cycle of spending versus investing. When they get a raise, they upgrade their lifestyle. This is known as lifestyle creep. They buy a nicer car or a bigger house, which are often liabilities masquerading as assets. While the rich are looking for ways to put their money into vehicles that provide a return, the average person is busy ignoring small compounding opportunities because they seem insignificant in the short term. They think, why save $50 a week when it won't buy me anything today? They follow traditional advice like saving in a low interest bank account, which is actually a guaranteed way to lose purchasing power due to inflation. The contrast between a rich and average individual over 10 years is astonishing. Most people work 40 hours a week, pay their bills, and save the rest. The rich individual works 40 hours a week, yet lives below their means to feed the math machine. Let's examine Dave. Dave works hard as a manager and makes $80,000. His lifestyle costs $75,000. Despite feeling accomplished, his wealth increases nearly nothing because he has no math working when he sleeps. Sarah makes the same, but lives on $50,000 and invests $30,000. Compounding gains on her investments make Sarah hundreds of thousands of dollars ahead in 10 years. This one mentality shift from consumer to investor reverses the equation in your favor. Let's unveil the rich's hidden trick beyond saving: leverage. Use something tiny to control something big is leverage. Financially, this involves investing borrowed or pooled cash wisely to boost returns. While most people fear debt, the wealthiest use good debt to buy assets that pay off the debt. Buying a rental property with a 20% down payment is leverage. Because you managed a greater asset with less money, if the property value rises by 5%, you made a 25% return on your initial investment. Timing matters too. Rich people realize that long-term growth in high-return industries is more important than timing the market. They think exponentially. They know the investment cycle's final years saw the biggest growth. The perfect example is Warren Buffett. Over 95% of his wealth was made after 65. He didn't get a lucky break late in life. He just played long enough for compounding's odd math to reach its vertical phase. Stop trying for get-rich-quick methods and start creating a foundation when you realize wealth divergence happens slowly and then all at once. How can you apply this to your life right now? Step 1 is to start early and leverage compounding, even if the amount seems embarrassingly small. If you are 20 years old and invest just $5 a day, by the time you are 65, you could be a millionaire. The math doesn't care if you are a janitor or a CEO. It only cares about time and consistency. Step 2 is to focus your energy on assets that multiply. This includes index funds, real estate, businesses, or even digital assets like content or software that can be sold repeatedly without extra effort. Step 3 is to avoid the biggest money traps, high interest debt, and low return savings. Credit card debt is the reverse math of the rich. It is compound interest working against you, eating your future wealth. Fourth is the most crucial. Change your thinking. Consider percentages instead of absolute numbers. Avoid thinking of a $5 coffee as $5. Consider the $50 it would have become in 20 years if invested. Look at the percentage return compared to risk when evaluating an investment, not just the cash gain. We see practical examples everywhere. You may automate a $100 monthly deposit into a low-cost index fund. AI or modern finance can automate spare change micro investments. These few steps are the formula most millionaires use. The most stunning wealth comes from plain, constant math. Let's look at some mind-blowing examples to illustrate this is power. Are you familiar with the rule of 72? It quickly shows how long it takes to double your money. Simply divide 72 by your annual return. A 10% earner doubles their money every 7.5 years. $10,000 becomes $20,000 in 7 years. 14 years, $40,000. 21 years, $80,000. By year 45, that $10,000 has increased 6 times to almost $600,000. Consider 1% daily improvement. Your financial status or knowledge won't improve 3.65 times if you improve by 1% every day for a year. You improve 37 times with compounding. It applies to savings, investment returns, and skill acquisition. What if you started now? If you participated in this math instead of watching? The wealth gap rewards those who understand the game mathematically, not socially. Owning math makes the rich richer. You can. Which math trick surprised you most? Power of leverage or massive compounding over time? Leave a comment below. Please like and subscribe if you found this analysis helpful. Staying educated puts you ahead of the curve as most people will never see this information. Understanding these hidden rules is the first step to financial freedom. Never let math defeat you again. Start slowly, keep consistent, and let time work. Next, I will reveal the hidden numbers banks employ to construct their empires with your savings. This is not to be missed. Thanks for watching. See you next time.